What if I told you that there was a UFC fighter who spent every night partying and still destroyed everyone? Well, that fighter is Jon Jones, a legend who became the youngest UFC champion ever at just 23 and has the most title fight wins in UFC history, all while spending nights out partying before important title fights. But how did he still find success despite his partying obsession? To find out, we have to go back to 1987, when Jonathan Dwight Jones was born in Rochester, New York. His father, Arthur, served as a pastor and wanted Jon to follow him in his footsteps. But growing up alongside two athletic brothers, Jon developed a strong desire to become an athlete himself. Jon began wrestling in high school and quickly proved his talent, winning a state championship. After high school, he continued wrestling in college, where he went on to claim a national college championship. But shortly after this achievement, he found out that he was about to become a father. So instead of completing his college degree, he dropped out of college to work and pursue a career in MMA to support his family financially. At only 20 years old, Jon Jones made his professional MMA debut against Brad Bernard, securing a TKO victory in the first round. Just a week later, he earned a TKO win over Carlos Eduardo, followed by a submission victory against Anthony Pina. He continued his dominance by finishing his next 3 opponents in decisive fashion. In just 3 months, Jones amassed an impressive 6-0 record, which quickly put him on the UFC's radar and led to his signing. Jon made his UFC debut at UFC 87 against Andre Gusmão on just 2 weeks' notice, showcasing his unorthodox striking and dominating the fight to secure a unanimous decision victory.
Johnny Bones Jones!
At UFC 94, Jon faced off against Stephan Bonnar, a finalist from The Ultimate Fighter Season 1 and a far more experienced fighter. But despite Bonnar's status as a UFC veteran, Jon made the fight a nightmare for him, securing multiple takedowns and even connecting with a spinning back elbow.
The Greco-Roman skills spinning back.
Yeah, after I'd been fighting him that first round, sitting on my stool, I'm like, this guy is fucking good, man. He's gifted.
Jon, his third UFC challenge, Jake O'Brien, was forced to tap out after Jon secured a guillotine choke.
I can't see it from this angle. Looking to finish it. He put him out. He put him out. Wow. Jon Jones has choked out Jake O'Brien.
After winning 3 consecutive UFC fights, Jon was given the chance to face Matt Hamill at the Ultimate Fighter Heavyweights finale. He dominated the fight, maintaining top control and attempting to finish Hamill with strikes. However, as Hamill refused to submit, Jon began throwing illegal 12-6 elbows.
12-6 elbow is just like if you're looking at a clock, guys, and your fist points towards the 12 and you bring your elbow down towards the 6. So straight up and down elbow.
The referee stepped in and halted the fight.
Steve Mazzagatti stepped in, broke the action, checked on Hamill, didn't think he could continue. Can't continue because of illegal strike. Pretty obvious where this goes. You disqualify Jon Jones.
Hamill was ultimately awarded the victory, handing Jon the first loss of his MMA career.
If there was an illegal strike and the referee called it illegal and decided the other athlete can't go on, there was only one remedy for that situation, which is a disqualification, which was called.
Many people, including Dana White, disagreed with the referee's decision and believed it should be overturned. Even Hamill admitted that Jon was simply doing what any fighter would and acknowledged that he didn't truly win the fight. In 2010, Jon returned to his winning form with a TKO victory over Brandon Vera.
Jon Bones Jones!
He followed this up with another TKO win over Vladimir Matyushenko.
Did you expect it to be this easy?
No, I didn't. Actually, I trained the hardest I could possibly train. I knew Vladimir would be the toughest test, and I just trained my butt off, and things went really well.
Jon continued to impress in 2011, handing the undefeated Ryan Darth Bader his first professional loss with a guillotine choke submission.
Declaring the winner by tap out due to a guillotine choke, Jon Bones Jones!
Immediately after the fight, Jon was informed that Rashad Evans had suffered a knee injury and that he would step in to face Mauricio Rua for the light heavyweight title.
When you found out about the switch in opponents, that you were fighting Jon Jones and not Rashad Evans, you seemed to get a little more excited. What about Jon Jones excites you?
Yeah, actually, everything that has been said, everything that people were saying, the whole hype, really serves as motivation. And even the change of opponents close to the fight is a source of motivation.
What do you think is Shogun's biggest weakness?
Shogun's biggest weakness is definitely his wrestling, and I think his jiu-jitsu is also very overrated.
March 19, 2011, Jon took control from the very start, securing takedowns and dominating the fight on the ground. In the second round, Jon landed several solid punches and maintained control on the ground, delivering multiple elbows. But in the third round, he connected with a body shot followed by a knee to the head, sending the champion to his knees and causing the referee to stop the fight. At only 23 years old, Jon became the youngest UFC champion ever.
I think we saw a transition tonight, a transition of a new generation of fighter. His skill set is unbelievable.
Jon Jones got through a tough test tonight and passed with flying colors. The real challenge starts now.
Jon defended his title for the first time against Quinton Rampage Jackson.
I have zero respect for Jon Jones. He's all hype. He's not even on my level yet, but his head is so far up his ass, he thinks that he's the greatest champion of all time.
The former champion stood no chance against Jon, who delivered a variety of kicks and superior strikes before ultimately securing a victory via rear naked choke submission. Jon's first title defense was a dominant performance, even against a prime Quinton Jackson.
He beat me at my best. That was the best. I was at my best today. I was at my best. Physically, I was at my best. I've never trained this hard before in my life.
Jon closed out 2011 with his second title defense against Lyoto, the Dragon Machida. Machida started strong, landing precise strikes early in the fight. But in the second round, Jon secured a takedown and delivered a powerful elbow that cut Machida open. Shortly after, Jones locked in a standing guillotine choke, forcing Machida to submit for the first time in his career.
I think it's safe to say it's the toughest fight since I've learned how to fight.
With an impressive 15-1 record, Jon stepped into the cage to face his former training partner, Rashad Sugar Evans.
There's been so many people like him that's always been the one. But that's a secret. There is no one. Anybody can lose any given day, and he's going to find that out.
Despite Rashad's advantage as Jon's former training partner, Jon dominated the fight from start to finish. He effectively used his reach to land jabs, elbows, and kicks while successfully defending against Evans' takedown attempts. In the end, he secured a dominant unanimous decision victory.
Johnny Bones Jones!
I don't think I did a good job. I didn't do the things that I trained to do, and it was just something I wish I had back. A couple moments in a fight that I feel like I could have took advantage of some situations, but I didn't do it, and it was my mental block, and I didn't go out there and perform the way I wanted to.
Just a month after his fight with Rashad, Jones crashed his Bentley into a utility pole in Binghamton, New York, and got taken into custody by police after refusing a sobriety test. While no one was seriously injured, the incident cast a negative spotlight on him. But the controversy was soon overshadowed by positive news, as Jones became the first UFC fighter to sign a global sponsorship deal with Nike. However, just 2 weeks later, Jon's public image took another hit when he refused to accept a last-minute replacement fight against Chael Sonnen after his scheduled opponent, Dan Henderson, withdrew due to injury. As a result, UFC 151 became the first event ever canceled by the UFC.
We bought the UFC in 2001. I've done almost 1,800 fights. No fighter has ever turned down a fight, and this is the first ever UFC that's ever had to be canceled.
Jon's decision faced criticism from UFC President Dana White, who stated, "This is one of the most selfish, disgusting decisions that doesn't just affect you." September 22, 2012, Jon was set to face Vitor Belfort in the UFC's next pay-per-view event. Just 1 minute into the fight, he found himself in serious trouble.
From his back, I'm sure he has submissions. Oh, armbar! He's got it! He has got it right here! Vitor Belfort!
After 20 dangerous seconds, Jon managed to break free and maintain dominance over Vitor on the ground for the rest of the fight, while also landing several powerful body kicks. But in the fourth round, Jones secured an Americana submission, forcing Belfort to tap.
Jon Jones remains the UFC light heavyweight champion!
April 27, 2013, Sonnen finally got his shot at Jon and came close to becoming champion after Jon broke his big toe. Despite the injury, Jon completely dominated Chael, proving that even a broken toe couldn't stop him, and secured a TKO victory at the end of the first round.
And still!
Towards the end of 2013, Jon faced off against Alexander the Mauler Gustafsson.
You've never fought anyone with his reach. I mean, you usually have the longer reach. What are you going to do to neutralize that?
You know, I try to focus on my own thing, you know, try to focus on my own tactics. You know, I know what's coming up. You know, he's the best guy pound for pound in the world right now. And if I'm going to take someone's belt, it's going to be his.
Alexander started off strong, completing a takedown.
See the blood rolling down the right side of Jon Jones's face. Gustafsson with the takedown. First time in the UFC.
Jon continued landing elbows and kicks, but Gustafsson outboxed him for most of the fight and displayed exceptional takedown defense. Many fans felt that Gustafsson had done enough to secure the victory, but in the end, Jon won by unanimous decision.
And still!
The fight is a highlight in my career for sure, in my life for sure.
I had this crazy thing that I would do where I would party 1 week before every fight. And I did it throughout my whole career. And my logic was, if this guy were to beat me somehow, I can look myself in the mirror and say that, well, I lost because I got hammered the week before the fight.
Jon held the UFC record for the most light heavyweight title defenses, and in 2014, he aimed to extend that record by taking on Glover Teixeira.
Give us your thoughts on Jon Jones as an opponent and what's going to go down tomorrow night.
He's a great fighter. He's got all the tools. He's a great champion. I'm going to take that belt away from him tomorrow.
Jon dominated the fight. But Glover had his moments as well.
Body shot again. Good leg right hand. Closing the distance on the fence.
Jon consistently landed cleaner and more effective strikes throughout the fight, ultimately securing another successful title defense.
I want to thank Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. Without him, I would be nothing.
Months later, Jon went on to face Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier, a former Olympic wrestler, had the skills to make Jon pay for his party lifestyle.
I wish they would let me next door so I could spit in your face.
You know I would absolutely kill you if you ever did something like that,
You
right?
could never kill me.
Oh, I bet you I could.
Then you should try, Jon. I will die to beat you. Know that.
All right. Be prepared to do that.
DC started aggressively, landing some solid punches in the clinch. But Jon took him down for the first time in his MMA career.
Daniel Cormier, a true wrestler, embracing the grind. Kick to the neck.
Ultimately, DC fell short, and Jon secured the victory by unanimous decision.
So when you're fighting guys like Jones, he's so tall, he's so rangy, and he just understood fighting. The guy just understands fighting. And it makes him hard to deal with.
Just a day after being featured on Forbes magazine's 30 Under 30 list of the brightest young stars in sports, Jon's public image suffered another blow.
So I want to clarify a few things. Jon Jones was tested out of competition. When he was tested, he tested positive for cocaine.
Jones's mother, Camille, admitted Monday that her son left the rehab facility after just one night.
Later that year, Jon was involved in a hit-and-run incident in Albuquerque, which left a pregnant woman in the other vehicle injured.
When you ran away from that car accident,
Yeah.
that to me was like, God damn, Jon's in a bad place.
Yeah, I was in a bad place.
According to the Albuquerque police, Jon ran a red light, crashed his rented SUV into another vehicle, and then fled the scene.
From the time that I hit, I was over a fence probably 8 seconds later.
Jones turns himself in to the police hours after initially fleeing the scene, and later pleads guilty to leaving the scene of an accident that resulted in injury. He was sentenced to 18 months of supervised probation. As a result, the UFC stripped him of his light heavyweight title and suspended him indefinitely. On April 23, 2016, Jon returned to the UFC and competed against Ovince Saint-Preux for the interim title.
There's a nice right hand by Ovince. Big shot by Jones.
While OSP lost and got outclassed in every aspect, Jon did not look as dominant as in his previous fights.
You know, he was rusty tonight, and it's funny, you know, for Jon, you know, everything worked out for him, because if that was Cormier in there tonight, that would have been a rough night.
Jon was set to have a rematch against DC at UFC 200, but he was removed from the fight after being flagged by USADA for a potential doping violation.
Damn, come on. Come on.
Fuck, I'm so sorry.
Come on. Oh, man, it's so hard.
I know, I'm so fucking sorry.
Like, is there anything I can do? Like, I'll sign a release and we can just fight.
Can't do it.
That's a bummer.
Jon denied any wrongdoing, but he still received a 1-year ban from USADA, and the UFC stripped him of the interim championship, making him the first champion to be stripped twice. After serving his second suspension, Jon and DC finally faced off again at UFC 214.
You know, last time I was just fighting to win. This time I'm fighting to kick his ass.
DC came out aggressively, applying pressure on Jones with his boxing and clinch work.
DC is seeing everything as well. He caught him. Big punches landed by DC.
The first 2 rounds were fairly even, but midway through the third, Jon landed a powerful head kick that caught Cormier.
He's just having a hard time reaching Jon. Oh, Jon landed a high kick. He's hurt.
DC was stunned by that head kick.
And Jon is all over him.
Here comes Johnny Bones with the ground and pound. Cormier.
That could be it.
Trying to
That's it. He's out. He's out.
Jon Jones has done it.
Wow.
But just weeks later, Jon's reputation took another major blow.
Jon Jones tested positive for turinabol from a sample the day before your guys' fight, of course. This is the 3rd time he did it. 3 fights involving your name, he tested positive for something.
As a result, Jon's victory was wiped from the record books. He received a 15-month suspension, and the UFC reinstated DC as champion. On December 29, 2018, Jon made his return to the UFC in a rematch against Alexander Gustafsson.
Just goes now if you want. Come on out and handle your business. Let's go.
Gustafsson tried to pressure Jones, but struggled to land clean shots.
Something like this. This will. Oh, nice leg kick.
Jon defended well and landed a powerful takedown.
This is a bad position for Alex. He's got to scramble out of here. Oh, big shots. Big shots by Jon Jones.
A lot of trouble here.
Gustafsson's in trouble. That's
Jon
it.
Jones has
That's
regained the throne.
Wow.
Jon successfully claimed the light heavyweight belt and had to defend it against Anthony Smith in 2019.
Give us your thoughts on what tomorrow night means to you.
It means everything to me. This is what I've been working for. And I promise you guys, whatever it costs, whatever it takes, I'm still fucking coming.
Jon took control of the fight early on.
Oh, that hurt him.
Jon maintained his dominance and secured a victory by unanimous decision.
Jon Bones Jones!
Later that year, Jon defended his title against Thiago Santos in a closely contested fight, ultimately winning by split decision. The first split decision victory of his career. Dana White later announced that Dominic Reyes would be Jones's next challenger, set to compete for the belt on February 8th.
I'm willing to go in there and get knocked out if I have to. I mean, you got to put yourself in danger. It's the biggest risk, it makes the biggest reward. So I'm ready to go out there and throw down, man. I'm ready to bleed as much as necessary.
Reyes came out strong, landing a big uppercut.
Jon checked another kick.
Nice right hook. That one hurt his eye. Nice right hand. Left hand by Reyes lands. He's following up the combinations. Another one. He's on him.
Starting from round 4, Reyes began to slow down for the first time in the fight.
Nice. Beautiful left hook from Jones.
Jon ultimately secured the victory by unanimous decision, though many fans and analysts considered it one of the biggest robberies in UFC history.
You know, I felt like I did what it took to win the fight. I truly feel like I won the fight, and judges didn't see it that way tonight.
A few months later, Jon announced that he had vacated his title and would be moving up to heavyweight for his next fight. 3 years later, he finally made his heavyweight debut against Cyril Gane.
I feel great. Honestly, I feel like a stronger version of myself.
Jon secured a takedown early in the fight and easily finished Cyril.
He's putting pressure.
Jon Jones is the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
Now it's undeniable.
It's undeniable.
There was all this debate until he submitted Cyril Gane and became the heavyweight champion. No one can fuck with that.
Although Jon was regarded as one of the greats after this fight, he still had more to prove as he finally faced off against Stipe Miocic.
As long as this guy is active, he's the best. The pound-for-pound best in the world, and he's the greatest of all time.
Jon got off to a strong start, completely dominating Miocic on the ground. Jon showcased his skills and secured the victory by the end of the 3rd round.
Jon Jones is a bad guy who's trying to be a good guy.
Jon entered the UFC with one goal in mind: to conquer. Despite his party lifestyle outside the cage, he accomplished exactly that. From his meteoric rise as the youngest UFC champion to his dominance across multiple generations of fighters, Jones has proven time and time again that he is a once-in-a-lifetime talent. However, Jones' career has also been marked by setbacks and controversy. Legal troubles, suspensions, and failed drug tests have cast a shadow over his legacy. But every time he was counted out, he found a way to come back and reclaim his spot at the top. Whether he chooses to defend his heavyweight title or eventually retire, one thing is certain: Jon Bones Jones' name will forever be engraved in the history of combat sports.